tell you a little bit about the grant and tell you what we're asking you to do. So let me get my stuff fired up here. I was telling Mr. Robinson it's basically what I've done the last couple of years with 7th, 8th, and 9th grade teachers. But this is the first. Let's make sure I'm not opening the wrong. I have to do a PowerPoint tomorrow with the first year law students. I will make sure I don't pull up the wrong thing here for you all. But okay. And this, what I'll do is I'll email it to you, like we did before, so you'll have the PowerPoint. But of course, they want me to start by thanking you for being here. I know it's a hard time of year. I know you've just gotten started, and here we are going, oh, let's do something new, on top of you. And I apologize for that, but it's really not that bad. It's brief and a couple of days of your time, and it's really going to help with our grant and what we're trying to do. So let me first tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about an overview of how to administer the prompts that are going to be in your basket. I'm going to go over the materials with you, explain the process from A to Z, give you my contact information in case anything happens, so you can get a hold of me and I can answer your questions. If I can't, I'm real good at finding somebody who can. Okay, and then answer any questions you might have. So that's what we're going to do. And I know you're tired and I know you want to go home, and I really want to apologize for doing this to you today, but we've got to get this done at the very beginning of the year. So that's why we're doing it. Not to torture you, I promise. I'm Rebecca Ellswick, if you don't know who I am. I'm a teacher consultant for the Appalachian Writing Project at UVA-Wise, and that's my connection to this grant. Dr. Amy Clark over there, who is the leader of the Appalachian Writing Project, wrote a grant to get this from the National Writing Project. Appalachian Writing Project is just one part of the National Writing Project. So you should Google NWP, National Writing Project, and take a look at them, at what they do. Been around for many, many years. I want to say 40 years now. And what we've been concentrating on in the last few years is this grant, what they call the C3WP. It's the College Ready Writers Program, and now it's College Community Writing Program. My job in this is the coordinator of the testing. There's another arm of this, which is professional development. That also will come through UVA-Wise and the Appalachian Writing Project. Those of us who are in the project, and there are many of us over a 10-year, it's been in place, I think this is the 11th or 12th year. I did it in 2006. I became a teacher consultant. And it changed my life. It changed me as a teacher. I wish I'd done it many years ago. But that's where this is all coming from. And it targets areas where low income, students with difficulty passing the state tests, those kinds of things. That's what we're targeting. Okay. And so what my job is to work with you all to administer this test. It explains here how there are there's also another county. Buchanan County is also involved in this grant. And you know more about the grant because you've been there since you all were asked to participate. And it means money for the school, but more than that, it's going to mean professional development for teachers in the teaching of argumentative writing, which is what everybody's pushing now. We're pushing from beginning writing all the way through freshman college. We're pushing argumentative writing with students, the ability to create an argument on paper, communicate an argument. So I am not, the thing I need to clarify, I have nothing to do with the professional development component. They have nothing to do with the testing. They don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what they're doing. As Amy Clark will tell you, she doesn't get the emails and things that I do. We keep it separate because this is being done by an independent nonprofit organization that's doing the compiling the data. It's called the SRI. If you get in, you will probably get emails from them. They're the ones that will send you emails asking you to do a survey or asking you to do a week-long teacher log. That won't come from me. That'll come from SRI. So those are basically the components. I wanted to tell you this is being done by 17 different states, 50 school districts, and 30,000 students are participating. So it's really an honor that we got chosen. It really is. It's really an honor. So hopefully from this grant, what we're doing is we're having statistical information to show those people in Washington that we ask for money, that we are making a difference, that instead of all this standardized testing, these are the types of things we should be doing in schools for teachers and for students. So that's basically, I've been in on this since from the ground up. 10 years ago they started with this idea. So it's quite a bit of a history here. But anyway, keep going. Told you that. And as was said, this is the second year of a 2-year study that we started last year with 7th through 10th grade. This year we're all focusing on 4th and 5th grade. Okay. All right. What we're going to ask you to do, since I don't have a way of showing you this, and like I said, I will give him the PowerPoint presentation. You guys can go back and look at it. But just to overview what we're going to ask you to do. We're going to ask you at one point to do a week-long teacher log, where basically you're asked for a week to write down for 5 days what you do. Teaching and teaching writing, teaching English, teaching language arts.
Does that include grammar also, or is
Yes.
it just the writing?
Anything that you do, reading, writing, grammar, that kind of thing. It'll be good. It'll go into more detail on the log. And as I said, that'll come from SRI. That'll come from those people. And of course, then they'll send me emails saying, encourage the teachers if they forget to do it. And it's usually about a 10 to 15 minute thing, you know, that we ask you to do. That'll come later on in the fall. What we're going to do first is we're going to do what we call the prompt administration, which is going to take 2 days. Okay, this is 2 days. And you all are scheduled to begin that next week, which is why I'm here today. It's very important that you set aside 2 days to do this, okay? Then the next thing we'll ask you to do is a teacher survey, which is a survey of your professional background, your instructional practices, views on writing instruction, and what you think professional development should be, that kind of thing. And we all know we love professional development. Well, they come in and tell us all about this testing data, right? I used to get so tired of hearing that those 3 little letters, SOL, SOL, SOL. Is it still that way? Is it? I thought surely I left teaching 5 years ago. I really thought I would outlive it. I thought I'm going to stay there. I'm going to retire when they stop giving SOLs. Well, I decided I was going to be around for a long time if I didn't go on. So, yeah. But hopefully we're providing alternatives that are more student and teacher friendly. And then there'll possibly be a phone interview or a site visit. I don't look for that to happen considering where we are. They may call you, Mr. Robinson, and ask you questions about what you think about how the process went. I don't know if they've ever done an interview with you yet, but that's always an option that they'll call and ask if you have any questions or concerns or that kind of thing about what happened. So that's an overview of how we collect our data. And we are targeting, as I said, 4th and 5th grade. Now what we do is you will test now in the fall. I keep calling it the fall even though it was 93 or 4 degrees yesterday and then stormed today like crazy. But we call this in the fall. And then again in the spring before school goes out, we'll have another prompt and ask you to test. And of course there's the comparison between the two. And that's basically all they're asking you to do.
How is the test format? Is it like a writing prompt that the kids write? Will there be multiple choice?
I'll talk about that in just a minute.
Okay.
No, it's not multiple choice.
Okay.
No, it is not. That's one of the things we're hoping to try to do.
That's what I was
Trying to
hoping.
wean off.
Writing is
Yes.
not multiple
I was
choice.
like, surely not.
All right, let's go into that right now. What we call the prompt administration overview. It's only a one-day writing component. The first day you're asking students, it's two different packets, and what you give them the first day, you're going to ask them to read and make notes about. And that can be drawing pictures of things they see in that. That can be, and it can be nothing. They don't have to write anything. It can be underlining a part of the story that they thought that was important or whatever. It is planning day. Is the first day. That's the day they're supposed to read and take notes. And we ask that you give them 60 minutes. And we ask that they need more time, that you give them more time. Students with an IEP, any accommodations, are given those accommodations. That means if they get things read to them, it's fine to read this to them. If they get someone to write things down for them, it's okay to write down what, whatever you do as far as accommodations. I was a special ed teacher for many years. You give them those accommodations, more time, or extra breaks, whatever they need. Okay? Now, I don't know, myself, having never taught 4th or 5th grade, I don't know how hard it is to get them to sit still for an hour, use your judgment if they need 30 minutes and then a break and then 30 minutes. It's not such a controlled test like an SOL that somebody's going to come in and smack you down if you don't do it exactly. The purpose of it is just to get this information that we want from the kids as best as possible.
But no matter what you do, it still needs to be done in one day.
That first day, it needs to take care of the overview day, the reading day, let's call it, the reading and note-taking day. And it needs to be 2 consecutive days. If they read and go over that and do their notes on Monday, they need to do the writing part on Tuesday. Okay? You don't want to start it on Friday and then finish it on Monday. You don't want to do it on Tuesday and skip to Thursday. It needs to be back to back. Now, what 2 days you pick, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Pick what's best for your schedule. I know you guys deal with PE and art and all those kinds of things. I don't, we discourage teachers from taking that away from the students and to give them this. We don't want to have them to be mad when they start. You know what I'm saying? I know how that goes. So, the second day, what you'll do after you take up that packet the first day, you will give it back to them on the second day and then give them the second packet. So they have that to look at before they do the writing, what they're asked to write. And of course the writing will be something to do with what they read. How does that sound?
What if you have a student who's there on the first day and then absent?
Okay, and that is going to happen. You'll just have to try to give them the prompt, when they come back.
Okay.
If it's several days, I would suggest letting them have some time to look over it before they do the writing component.
And what if they don't get finished on day 2?
Give them more time. Give them more time. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. And even if it's just a paragraph, if it's just 3 sentences, and that's what they do, that's considered done. Okay? Because I know you probably have some students like that. But we want you to encourage them as much as we can, to get them to do as much as they can, to take it seriously. But, I've seen kids myself throw up when you mention the SOL. I don't want them to, say, no, it's not. Please tell them, no, it's not an SOL. It's not going to count for your grade. It's not going to be graded by you, but there are very important people that are going to grade it. They're going to look at it. Now, on the letter that you will send home, parents have an option that they can opt the student out. But the student still is to do the writing prompt as a classroom activity. That way you don't have half the class who figures out really fast, if I opt out, I don't have to do it. So we ask that everyone participate, whether or not it's actually counted in the study. Does that make sense? Okay. make sure I've gone over all of this before we get to, I actually show you the materials. It says that 5 days before the administration, the letter should go home. So your letters probably should go home tomorrow, since you'll all be testing. You're down to test next week.
Mr. Robinson, can you get those letters to Wendy tomorrow?
There's actually, when we pull this one out of the box here, you could copy it if you wanted to. You know, they're there to make as many copies as you need. Okay? We have to have a parent notification turned in with every test. You know how important it is to have that right documentation. Let's see. My biggest problem that I've had in doing this the last couple of years with teachers, and I do try to check each box that's returned to me before I return it to the NWP, is not filling in that first sheet. You're going to have a sheet that's I've got to have the student information filled in. It's got to have so I get the student name on a lot of them, and that's it. It's got to have the grade filled in. It's got to have your name filled in, or whoever administers the test. That's fine. I shouldn't have one, unless it's unavoidable, I shouldn't have one teacher's name on the first day prompt, and a different teacher's name on the second day prompt. That has to be filled in. And it's very important that the box be checked whether or not that student opts out of this. Because the parent can opt the student out, and then the student can also opt him or herself out. Now that is still turned in. You still put it back in the box, and I still mail it to them. And they supposedly destroy it, but they want to see it. Okay? And what I'll do is keep checking with you all through email of when you're finished. Your goal is to give it next week and get everything finished up by the next week. And then my goal is by the 3rd week to come and pick them up. Okay? Do you want me to go to the schools and pick them up? What's the best way to do it for the teachers? Just to go to each individual school?
If you want, that's fine. It's probably better to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come in and let you know when I'm coming, and maybe you could leave it in the office for me, or the guidance office, or somewhere where I could pick it up. Okay? I'll let you know I'm coming. Probably be right after school, and I'll let you know. Okay. Because Lord help us if we get thing happened last year. You wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe, because they're really big on put it back in the same exact box. It's supposed to go back in the same exact box, because one of the things in that box, which usually gets to the bottom of the box, is the return label. Well, when I went to pick up one last year at one of Buchanan County schools, this sweet little secretary brings me out this paper box like you get paper in. And I'm like, where's your box? She said, I've already been through this.